As the clock dwindled on my last lacrosse game junior year, I knew it was all over. I could feel the tears rushing to my eyes as I struggled to contain them. All our hard work had led to a crushing defeat in sudden death, double overtime, in the Final Four. I never wanted to experience this feeling that was ripping at my heart, the feeling of defeat. As I was sitting on the bus on the way back home, I began to ponder about my senior lacrosse season. I vowed that I would never feel the sting of defeat after having what I wanted within my grasp. So it was with much determination and perseverance that I started my senior lacrosse season a year later. We were a stronger, more confident team than the year before, and that propelled us through the season and into playoffs. It was with much pride and a little trepidation when we finally made it to the Final Four my senior year. The night of the Final Four game taught me a lot about myself. I gained an insight of who I was that I never knew existed. I learned that no matter how difficult the task looks, when I set my mind to something, nobody can stop me. I arrived at Chattahoochee High School Stadium late Wednesday afternoon with the rest of my team. Everyone had their headphones in, concentrating on the task that laid before us. I knew what was on all my teammates' minds as we stepped off the bus, the Final Four game last year. I tried to shake off the nerves that were already creeping up through my body, but with little avail. My thoughts continually returned to those last few seconds of the game last year, which was not helping with the growing nauseous feeling in my stomach. I managed to keep the nervousness at bay as we warmed up with the sun sinking in the afternoon sky, indicating the inevitable start of the game. With 3 minutes left in warm-ups, I heard the screech of the referee's whistle as they called for captains. Putting on a stern face that I hope indicated fearlessness and confidence, I approached the opposing captain. A big girl with black war paint streaked across her face approached me. The referees talked to us about sportsmanship and what would not be tolerated in the game, like foul language, excessive pushing, or bad checks. Done speaking with us, the referees indicated for us to shake hands. We both reached forward, squeezing with our full strength, neither one of us grimacing, fearful of showing weakness. As my team gathered round in a circle for our pregame speech and cheer, the mood was heavy. Chattahoochee was quadruple our school size, and they had talent with Division I prospects, and we knew it. It was going to be the toughest competition we had encountered, which only further intensified the pressure we were already putting on ourselves. Our coaches finished talking to us, and we sprinted out of the circle, each of us taking our respective spots on the lacrosse field. Night had finally come, and the stadium lights were blazing. As I looked at the light, a feeling of determination rose up through my body as I decided right then and there this game would not be a repeat of last year. The crisp spring air cut across the night sky. Butterflies filled my stomach as the referee brought the whistle to her mouth for the first draw. Time slowly crept off the clock as the score began to lean in favor of Chattahoochee. They were not better than us. We were just playing at a lower caliber because we were nervous. It was a frustrating time in the game for me because I knew we could win, but our team just wasn't clicking. We kept making foolish decisions and not playing our game. By the end of the first half, Chattahoochee dominated the scoreboard with a score of 7-2. Fear started to inch its way into my heart. Knowing that our team would be devastated if we went out like this, Coach Jess told us to calm down and breathe, play our game, have fun, and do not be nervous. There was no need to be. It was just another lacrosse game. Something about her calming tone or the smile on her face lightened the mood in the circle. I could sense and see the sentiment of my teammates change. No longer were we the weak 1A school. We were a team that had been in this position before and who was not going to lose because we were nervous or afraid. With a new mindset, my team came out with a bang. We made it a 2-point game in 3 minutes. I could see the other team starting to panic. They began to quarrel within themselves, bickering about silly things like whose fault the last goal was, or blaming someone for a turnover. Their faces displayed visible shock, and their eyes had the beginnings of fear in them as we finally tied the game at 9-9 in the last 3 minutes of the half. The tables had finally turned. We were the more confident team, and you could see it in our passes and how we were playing with each other. We were finally clicking and playing our game. 3 minutes left in the game, and they have the ball on offense. The faces of Chattahoochee started to display confidence and smugness as they stalled to knock time off the clock. They did not want us to have the chance to score. The clock creeped down, and panic began to spread in my team again. Our actions and demeanor showed how scared and anxious we were that this game was going to end up in a repeat of last year. 1 minute on the clock, and Chattahoochee goes for the goal. The ball hits the left corner of the pipe, and Alexis, a defender on my team, snags the ball out of the air. Everything goes blank in my mind as I start my sprint down to the other end of the field. I could feel the distant throbbing of my legs, protesting the harsh sprint, but I ignored it. The only thing I could hear was the pounding of my heartbeat. Finally, a noise shattered through this trance. My coach was calling a play for me. "Blue!" she yelled. Everyone turned to look at me. Their faces portrayed confidence and helped to calm my nerves and bolster my own confidence. No time to think. My thoughts disappeared and my body took over doing what it had practiced so many times before. 25 seconds left on the scoreboard, and I stand on the left side of the field waiting. My teammates looking at me in bewilderment, wondering why I had not run the play yet. I stand there for what seems to be an eternity, looking at the face of my defender. The panic in her eyes was overwhelming. I could hear my breathing, and I knew what I had to do. 18 seconds left, and I go. The noise in the stadium drowned out by my own heartbeat. Everyone except my defender melts away as I cut across the field. My eyes see nothing but the orange post of the goal. I curve back towards the goal, my legs throbbing as I sprint as hard as I can. Finally, I have an opening. Bringing back my stick, I snap it forward. The ball moves in slow motion towards the goal. I yell in jubilation as I watch the ball strike the back of the net. I ran around the goal as the rest of my team chased after me, patting me on the back and jumping on me in utter joy. After I scored, it seemed like the volume in my head was cranked back up. I could hear the yelling of the fans, the groans of the other team, the crying and laughing of my coaches and teammates. I looked around at the faces of my teammates and saw the ecstasy I was experiencing on every single one of their faces. We had won. We overcame everything together as a team, and that feeling was one of the best feelings I have ever experienced. After the game, I stood looking up at the lights and the scoreboard, awe overwhelming me. I replayed the game, especially the last minute, over and over in my head, seeing how everything had fit together perfectly, like it was meant to be. I realized that I had stepped up as a leader in the game and been the rock that my team had counted on, and that feeling was better than me scoring the last goal. Stepping up as a player and a captain and seeing my results displayed on the scoreboard taught me that even when times get hard and all hope seems lost, if I persevere and keep my head up, I can achieve what seems impossible. I keep that lesson close to my heart, especially when times are rough and I need just a little bit of inspiration.
I've taken my bows, I couldn't call. You brought me fame and fortune and everything that goes with it. I thank you all.